People with high IQ are more likely to be depressed and anxious, and this is why. So if you have a very strong intellectual capacity, it's almost like having a very, very good lawyer in your mind. So the rest of us, we sort of have like average lawyers. Like they're kind of good, but they're not like the best. But individuals with extreme cognitive capacity have excellent lawyers in their minds, the best. And what happens is that they can use this against themselves. And so their lawyer in their mind can argue all kinds of elaborate, advanced, eloquent arguments of why they should be depressed or why they should be anxious. They will offer all kinds of evidence. It'll be like a full dissertation in the mind. And so it's really hard to fight against that because the argument is just so strong. And so this is how people with really high IQ use their minds against themselves. And oftentimes, individuals with high IQs or very strong cognitive capacity started doing this at a very young age. So they started thinking more at a very young age. And if you start thinking more at a young age, you typically develop a higher intellectual capacity over time than people who are thinking more like an average amount. And so what happens is that a lot of people who are thinking more at a young age are doing so as a way to escape emotional pain. Because one of the ways that we can escape emotional pain is called intellectualization. So we can kind of think about the pain in theory, and we can craft rational, logical arguments about the pain, but we don't necessarily feel the pain. So we escape into our minds away from that emotional pain, and that allows us to kind of numb it out. And obviously there's a lot of repercussions to this, but one of the advantages, I suppose, is that you do develop a strong intellectual capacity. And so you've learned to do this, and you've learned to rely on your intellect as a way of avoiding emotional pain, and then therefore grown your intellect over the years. The problem with being like this is oftentimes you're not like a very well-rounded person. Sometimes in the kind of socio-emotional context, you struggle. So you might struggle with relationships. You might struggle sometimes with understanding your own behavior. You might develop certain types of coping mechanisms that aren't good for you, but you don't understand why. You might avoid certain things and not understand why. And it's just because you're just so you're so advanced in just one area, and you're very, very advanced in that cognitive capacity, but because you advance that cognitive capacity so much, the other areas sort of atrophied. And so being really, really smart is a blessing and a curse, because there's certain things that being really, really smart makes you worse at, and being able to regulate yourself emotionally is one of those things.